Hello everyone! I am very happy to announce that the Eclectic Fantasies Oracle Guidebook is now available for purchase. So I'll go ahead and include the link to the book and the link to the cards in the section down below, and I will go ahead and update other videos with the links. So now you have access to all the links available. So I just wanted to kind of go over the book again. I know I've talked about this book before, but to clarify how it's to be read, of course you can you can always do your own thing when reading cards, but the way that the actual guidebook was designed and how it's meant to work with the cards if you go ahead and want to use the guidebook. Which of course may clarify a lot of the meanings, make it a little easier to understand. Now you can get a lot from the cards, but there's a lot of stuff that, there's a lot more clarity found within the storyline and the guidance. So again, you have the image and you have a story that goes with the image, a short story, and then you have the guidance. Now, when I read this book, when I go ahead and do a reading for myself, I notice a lot of the times it's really interesting how this works. Like, you read the story and you can get a lot of clarity for whatever you're really going through within the story itself. And then, with the guidance, like, you're supposed to really incorporate all of the things together. And again, some of it may seem more relevant than others at the time, depending on what you're going through, and that may change, again, depending on what you're going through on another time, depending on the reading, who you're reading for, and, you know, what the situation is. But you can get so much just from the story alone, even though it's short. It's really geared towards inner reflection, personal growth, things that you go through in the life journey, in the creative life journey, in the spiritual life journey, just in your life journey, you know, as a whole. And the extra keywords and themes that really connect to the card also add some more clarity. Like sometimes, you know, you'll be looking at a card and like some of the keywords are really just like, that's what it is. That's what it is. And, you know, you will know. But it's always best to, you know, really look at the story and look at the guidance, and each time something else will stick out and make more sense and clarify what's going on for you. You know, because each card has something to say, but they have multiple things to say, and depending on the situation, something, whether it be in the story or some of the guidance or all of the guidance or even all the guidance in the story, will really, you know, connect with you. And that's really how it's supposed to be used. That was the intended way to use it with the deck, just for more clarity. So, I'm going to go ahead and go down to the spreads. There are 3 spreads. These are a little bit more involved spreads. Of course, you can take your more knowledge, the knowledge you have on like a 3-card spread, and use that as well. You can use any spread, but these spreads are basically, they're really designed to really tackle some of the problems, like with your fears and self-doubt, working through that, which is really important if you're on a creative life journey. Well, in life in general, but a creative life journey when you're a creative person who's really trying to do things, put themselves out there, focus on their spiritual growth, focus on their personal growth. These are things that you will go through. So, you know, and this is tied to the Neptune's Fork card, because there's the aspect there of the fear and the self-doubt and what actions you need to take. And then there's the Star of Success, and it's numbered, I don't know if you see that, in order of how you're supposed to lay down the cards. And each, you know, you'll have a brief description of what the spread is supposed to be about, what it's supposed to tackle, and then you'll have the number of the card and really some more you know, stuff concerning that, like what this card specifically is supposed to mean, you know, what it brings into this situation. So there is that. And that's the Star of Success. You know, and that's about like the things that you do well and what you need to improve upon in your own creative life journey, what you need to do to bring yourself to a more self-actualized, more productive person, but beginning focusing on what you can do well and then branching out into the things that you would like to change and what action you need to do to bring this change about. So very transformative. These spreads bring with them transformation, every single one, especially the snakeskin spread. Now this is the longest spread in the book. I tried to make it, it's the path, the snake skin as it's being shed. And this is about shedding your old skin. This is about becoming a new person. It's about acknowledging who you are in your former state, and it goes through the steps, the tools you need to become your new self. And of course the end card is who you will become, and it's all explained within this descriptions for each card. So yeah, that's really basically everything. I don't know, I might think of something else to say about this. I know I've described it multiple times, but I really wanted to emphasize that there is so much you can gain from even just the stories. Even the stories themselves. And sometimes there's like, you know, you pick up on these things, like really pay attention to the underlying messages in the story. And they're short, but there are some things that aren't obvious. There are some things that are more obvious. Again, looking at the picture, getting a feel for what that is communicating along with the story, and how that story ties in with the guidance. It really, there's just so much, you know, for even just the little story and the page of guidance, there is quite a bit going on, especially when you use it in connection to a spread, which gives you even more clarity and actually makes you really think about the card in many different ways, how it can be expressed and how it can be used to better help guide you. So yes, this is again, I don't know if I've mentioned it already, but there is a table of contents that you can use. However, I did use it so it's alphabetical because I believe, for me, while I use a table of contents, for me, intuitively, I tend to go for alphabetical. So that might help you if you're really immersed in the book and you just want to start really engaging right away with the images and the messages of the book. I also, again, this is more about the deck, but also can be included in the book as well. And I might do some more videos like just talking about how they work in connection with the actual cards. Really pay attention also to the elements in the cards. There's a lot of course, the elements are expressed in the cards, but I notice like in a lot of readings, sometimes you'll have very dominant elements within the cards. Remember that plays a part, you know, that has a part within the meaning, you know, that has its own message that you need to be listening to. Again, with the layout of the cards, if you have things, repeating symbols, things that connect, meanings that connect, these all mean something. If you have meanings that are, they're all different meanings. Every card in this deck has its own unique meaning and own unique story and energy. However, when you have some cards that kind of express similar meanings, not the same, but similar themes, you really need to pay attention to that, because if you're getting multiple cards that are saying some things that are very closely tied, then you really need to take that into account in the actual reading. And again, with images and just watching, again, as you all know, with spreads, watching the interplay of the spread, and I'll actually do talk more about this in another video where I can actually have the cards and show you how they can visually interplay. And I know a lot of you already know about this because you guys are readers, you read for yourself, you read for others, you're quite experienced, so I know you know about this. But again, for those who are new to the experience, that's something you need to pay attention to within a spread. And pay attention to the symbols and the feelings you get when you're seeing something, when you're noticing something that really catches you within the card, and even the storyline, because I've gotten quite a bit of guidance just from reading the story starting out. And so it's really important, if you're new to this and if you really want to connect to the intention of the cards, that depending on, like, if it's a different reading, again, that card may have a different, it may very well have a different meaning than it did before, and different things are going to pop out that didn't pop out before. And eventually, again, as we all know with daily draws, you'll really be able to really internalize the card messages in some way, in connection to your life. You'll really know what it's talking about, and you'll really understand what it's trying to tell you. But again, I don't want to make this video too long because I know I've talked about this book so many times. But I did want to just describe it again, and so I could go ahead and clarify anything. If you have any questions about the book, how it's meant to be, or anything of that nature, just go ahead and comment, and I will do my best to answer your questions. I mean, I may even address them in a video. I'll probably also contact you in the message as well. It just depends on how many questions and what they're pertaining to with about the book and about the cards themselves. Any question. So go ahead and feel free to comment and ask, and I would love to answer your questions. So yes, links are provided down below, and I'm so happy to share this with you. This took this was a very involved process. It was something that was very new to me, honestly. Not the art, and not even so much the writing, besides actually having such a larger body of work, and then doing the selling and whatnot process. Just the process, and it's not just about art, and it's not just about writing. It's an internal process when you create a deck. So I'm very happy to be able to share this with you. I've gotten so much clarity and just some really just beautiful messages from it. So I am so glad to be able to share this with you. And so anyways, I'm just really happy. So anyways, much love and many blessings. Peace, love, light, and until next time, many blessings.